Most traders will never understand what it actually takes in order to be a profitable trader. They are trading day by day and thinking that it's going to be some kind of Bermuda triangle that they are going to be supposed to take a buy from. While this just keeps on going for years and years, they don't understand that it's sometimes not even about the strategy, because the strategy can work, but it's more so about the discipline that you're applying onto the time frame and onto the charts every single day. This is what we're going to be doing today in today's live trading session. This is what we're going to be doing in today's live trading session. You will see me break a trade down from A to Z, how I'm executing the trade, where I'm putting my stop loss, where I'm going to put my take profit, and also at the end, I'm going to show you how much money that trade has made. Now, judging from the title of the video that you have probably seen, it's going to be day 4 of trading $100 to prove it's not luck. And at the end, I'm also going to show you how much we're up at the entire account. So let's roll with it. Now, the first thing when I'm coming onto the time frame, I want to ask myself, what is going to be our range? Where are we trading towards and what is our range? For that, I identify basically the 15-minute high and the 15-minute low. This is going to be our entire range that we're dealing off from, okay? So you see right now, we are already basically putting ourselves in a situation where it's basically a 50-50. So even if you're going to be take a long or short based off which foot that you basically woke up to today, this morning, you're going to be 50% of the times wrong or right. So already there's not going to be like a million different reasons. Maybe to the upside, maybe, you know, market structure shift and we're going to go higher, then lower again, and then no. There's only going to be a 50-50 scenario. That's all you want to create with this. That's the reason why I'm identifying it in such a simple manner. Okay, so we have identified our 15-minute range. Now I like to go on to the higher time frames and basically say, okay, are we going to trade higher or are we going to trade lower? Based off the daily time frame, of course, we are going to be trading onto the upside because we are already having that movement higher. Okay, now from this point on, what do I want to see? And this is where we are already getting into, basically, you see, I've also done it yesterday. This is where we're going to basically get into our trading plan. Okay, we're going to get at the charts at 8:30. I've just started recording a little bit late. And then we want to see liquidity being taken out. From that point on, I want to see a movement candle, which has basically been created in here. So that's really how simple it is, okay? We have just identified range high, range low. Now we preferably want to trade onto the upside because we have already been taking out the liquidity. From this point on, I'm literally just going to be taking a trade. Now to you, this might seem as love, you know, we have an inverted FVG or whatever it's going to be. I don't trade any of that, okay? I keep it extremely simple. I trade based off what has worked for me for the past 3 years of my entire trading journey of being a profitable full-time day trader. And I am always just going to stick to that. So the last thing that I would just basically like to see a little bit is going to be basically the next candle opening. Yeah, well, from this point on, I'm already going to be participating, okay? So there we go, just entering with 1 micro. And we want to trade into that range high. Now, from this point on, what do we want to do, basically? I have something very special prepared for you guys. And you cannot see everything. Wait, I need to basically open it somewhere. Now, so there we go. You can already see it based off the name. There's going to be very crazy stuff coming up to you very soon, guys, okay? Now, I'm going to basically mark out my trading plan for you so you can follow up along, take a screenshot, and just also understand it further. So the very first thing that I'm looking out for is going to be, well, we have looked into the 50-minute time frame. 50-minute time frame, range high / low. Now, the first step or second step, they don't really matter in which order you're going to be doing that, but after that, it does matter. So 50-minute range high or low. Then we're going to be looking out for our higher time frame buys, okay? Higher time frame buys. Now, we have done that, and you're mainly also going to be doing that on the daily time frame or full hour, okay? Could even be the 1 hour, but you want to limit yourself to one of these 3. Or at most, you want to combine 2. You don't want to look at all of 3 because, once again, that just creates more and more errors. The more possibilities you have in your system, the more holes you're basically opening. Now, from this point on, we're going to be having these things, basically. Now, we're looking for a liquidity rate, okay? It's going to be on the 1-minute time frame. Have we seen a liquidity rate? Yes. Well, this has to happen basically after 8:30. Now, we're actually going to be putting one more thing. This is going to be at the very start, but this is sort of a, extremely easy rule to follow. And you're only going to be trading at 8:30, okay? New York local time. It's not going to be sooner. You only want to get into the shorts at 8 a.m., 8:30 New York local time. Okay, from this point on, one last thing that is required, we are going to be seeing basically our movement candle, right? Movement candle. Now, our movement candle has been this one, okay? So first of all, we're going to check all of the boxes. We had our New York local time, okay? This has been right in there. Then we had our 50-minute range right there. Then we had our higher time frame bias. Remember, we just gone onto the daily time frame. We're saying, completely just obvious, we are going to go on to the upside. Okay, well then we had our liquidity rate. That's going to be the 1 minute time frame. We have taken it out. And now we basically had the movement candle, which was this one right there. Okay, now we're taking a trade. We're putting the stop loss a little bit lower. Depending on how this goes, because we have already made a little bit of profit, I am willing to basically not get out of the trade if it gets in here, but this is going to depend on a price action. Depending on how it's going to move at that moment in time, we're either going to get out or we're going to stay into the trade. What I just basically see and also like to look out for right now is going to be the fact that all of this is going to create a BPR. Now we have already traded into the BPR, granted, but there's going to be more movement to come. That's personally what I believe. We're not just going to stop in here and trade lower. Now this is basically going to be 99% of the things that I'm already doing on a day-to-day basis, okay? I'm laying out of this down for you so you can basically do it yourself, okay? Now I've talked about this a lot of different times. A strategy is one thing, but basically following the strategy, okay, having that accountability basically to follow your plan, that is going to be a different story, which is exactly what leads us to what I'm creating in here, okay? Now, I've basically invested a lot of money into creating this entire thing as a whole, okay? Not to basically brag about it or whatsoever. I could have already bought whatever it's going to be, a very big car, let's just put it this way, a very good materialistic thing. But I decided to basically create this entire thing because when I just started out trading, my hardest part to basically master was accountability and being disciplined. Okay, that's what I've basically created, or I'm creating with the coders that I've basically hired in order to create this entire thing. It's going to be not only a journal, it's going to be a journal, a backtesting software that you can backtest your entire strategy on, and much more. Okay, we're going to be having even notes, as you can see, I have these entire notes. I have also some trades journal, but I'm going to show you that in the very end of the video, not now. And yeah, this is what I wish I had at the very start. And it's also not going to be, 1,000 a year or something like that. That's BS, man. A trading journal should not be costing this much. A trading journal is very valuable. It's basically a key component of making you a profitable trader. But come on, man, like we're not going to be charging like 1,000 in order for you to get that journal, okay? Now, based off with my accountant, I've already talked about that. The margin of profit that I make out of this journal, okay, that's going to be in the near future, is going to be very slim, okay? And this was sort of a choice that I had to take at the very beginning when I was just thinking about making this journal as a whole, okay? I had basically the option. I could create something that is going to profit me a lot and, I am going to basically become rich again, or I'm going to be creating something that is going to last. I'm going to be creating something that is not just going to, stay here for 1 day or two and then people already forgot about it, okay? But I'm going to be creating something that when I die, there's something to look into, okay? So somebody could pass us on, let's even say my kids in that sense, and they have something, okay, this is what dad did, okay? This is something that he has created for other traders to basically hold themselves accountable and, overall just boost their entire profits in that sense. This is just a very, very early snapshot. We don't have a lot of trades, but we have a lot of things that we have planned in this entire journal, okay? I am taking the lead of every single directional sort of change, okay? There's like no investment daddy whatsoever that is going to put millions into this and then all of a sudden, I'm not even the owner of that entire thing anymore. No, I will always keep 100% control of this entire journal and also the direction of it. And I'm very open for you to tell me, any of the things that you would like to see. I'm very open for that, because after all, this is made for you. This is your journal. This should be yours, basically, at the end of the day. Okay, I am just the head of investing the money, paying the coders basically to do all of that stuff, but it should be your journal after all. This is basically what we're looking out for. Let's see how all of this goes. Currently we are trading lower. Not really like to prefer that. Okay, we're probably also going to be taking a reposition because today is very clear. I like to limit myself at one trade a day most of the times, but if there's going to be another opportunity basically, and if the day is looking very clean, then I'm 100% going to re-enter the trade. Okay, you should not be re-entering trades when you're just revenge trading, which once again, this is why I've made this entire journal. You can, you will see when we're going to be journaling a trade, you can already add like, I've revenge traded, and it's basically going to log that in. You're not supposed to be taking another trade entry just because you have lost. You're supposed to be taking another trade entry if it aligns with your already existing rules. Okay, we've already marked out our rules, and we could basically name it as, something like general. Okay, we could say if a trade has lost, but the entire idea is good / market conditions, of course, then we can take another trade. Okay, so this way you're actually visualizing what you're doing, and it's not just going to be something, okay, I want to take another trade because of XYZ. That way you basically have a plan to look out for. Now there's going to be way more stuff. Okay, this is just a notes tab. We're going to get into the dashboard in just a bit. You're going to be having your pre-market, okay? In the next episode, we're also going to be doing that. So the pre-market in that sense would be, we're going to be taking a screenshot, basically. We've already taken a trade as an example. We're going to be putting it in here, and we're going to be saying, okay, we're looking out for 15-minute range to be taken out, and yada, 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 okay? We're not going to be doing all of that right now. Okay, this is just a very quick snapshot that I want to show you about. And it's going to be the entire idea of the journal is going to be discipline first. Okay, so of course you want to look at your fancy stuff and whatsoever, at your equity curve. We're also going to be including that, but mainly what this is for discipline, a way to hold yourself accountable when you're seeing these trades. Because once again, I had a profitable strategy also before that. I had something that was working, and looking back at it, I could even go to an old strategy that I have once traded a while ago, and it would still work right now. Why? Because I've developed that psychology basically over years and years of trading. So that tells me that the strategy was never lacking. What was lacking was my discipline once again. So this is the exact same reason why most traders fail. They don't have that accountability basically. So yeah, this is basically what we're doing. Because also think about it this way. How many times did you have a trade set up where you just knew this is good? Okay, you knew that this is a good trade. So let's just imagine we have this trade. We don't know the outcome yet. I already told you in the previous episode, you don't want to be outcome dependent. You want to be outcome independent, okay? I've already told you last time, but you already had some kind of strategy which you already knew this is going to get a take profit, and this was an A+++++++ setup. But you still took a loss. So how is that? How am I taking a loss when the setup was so high probability? Now, first of all, of course, not every single trade, even if it's an A+ setup, is going to work out. Okay, A+ setups also lose in that sense. But if the opportunity was really good, and even if it has hit your take profit, let's just say after you have lost a trade, how is it possible that you have lost a trade to begin with? Once again, because you have put your stop loss at break even. You have not followed your rules, your trading plan, all that kind of stuff. And that's the reason why you have ultimately lost. Which, speaking of lost, we are probably about to take a loss here, man. But we're going to be seeing how this develops. So that's also a thing, okay? I have followed my trading plan. Don't worry, you don't have to do this on my future journal that I'm going to be creating. You don't have to do this there, okay? You can also just take whatever notebook you have and do it there. But what I just want to basically tell you with this, I have my trading plan. I'm looking out for the things, and now I basically have it visualized what I'm doing. Okay, we got to be careful. I want to see how that entire 1 minute develops. If we're going to be trading lower or not. If we continue trading lower, then I'm probably going to get out. But if this is sort of the last push, then I'm willing to stay into the position. So let's just keep it in here. Move the stop loss. And yes, you know, I've heard it countless different times, you know, don't move the stop loss, don't move whatsoever. But the problem is not moving the stop loss, because I've also made a tier list video on my main channel. The problem is not moving the stop loss. The problem, okay, now we're going to get out of the trade. The problem is moving the stop loss under not your conditions. So if you're moving the stop loss just because you felt like it, that's wrong. But if you're moving the stop loss based off conditions, that's okay. Okay, I've done this entire tier list video, and there you can clearly see like moving your stop loss not the problem. Moving it because you just felt like it, that's the problem. So that's why I'm also moving my stop loss like on a day-to-day basis. Okay, I'm doing it certainly like every single day, and I don't have problems with that whatsoever. Okay, so now we're basically going to be moving away. This is our movement candle, because now we need to see another movement candle. Okay, we need to see strong movement onto the upside, then I'm going to be taking a long higher. This is basically what we're looking out for. Okay, I'm also willing to basically take a very small scalp in that sense, but we're just going to be seeing how this develops. So we have basically lost 50 bucks already. Let's just keep it as that, like right in here. We've taken it out in here. Let's just leave it in there, or else I'm just going to forget it. So let's put all of this into full screen and have a better look. Now, in the scenario where we are going to be trading into the 50-minute range low, then things could change. This is also a thing, because look at it this way. People tell you, you need to stick to your bias. You need to basically always adhere to the same stuff. Yes, you need to do the same stuff, but there's going to be niche scenarios. And what I believe personally is that every single candle, every single even 1 minute candle is going to tell you a different story. And if the price action, or if the sentiment of the price action is going to be changing midway, then that means you're wrong, and that's okay changing your mind. But once again, if you're going to be changing your mind just because we're trading lower, well then, you know, of course, that's basically the death sentence into you being profitable. So there has to be basically a logic applied to everything. So right now we're having the star BPR, we're trading into it. We really like to see that. Going to be marking out SO, BPR, 5 minute. Let's put that all the way to the right. Now, to be honest, I am willing to participate. Let me see on the 1 minute time frame. We could be taking a trade higher. And on this one, I would even be okay taking 2 micros. And the reason for that is because we have already built up a good buffer. We are going to be drilling that entire trade a little bit later on. But I could be seeing ourselves taking 2 micros simply because the entire stop loss is also lower. But let's see how this goes. Let's see. Could also be doing something like this and then only trade 1 micro, also possible to do. Okay. Which I don't think we have to include. I'm gonna just put it below this low in here. And let's see how this goes. Basically, I just want to be seeing a little bit of more movement. But not like this, you know. I don't really count this. Okay, there we go. Because all of these 3 on the 3 minute time frame is already going to be a bullish candle. But I want to see that last candle close, and then we're going to be taking a trade. Because right now we are hovering at this FEG, and this could also change things. This is only going to be the 1 minute time frame for now. Okay, I'm showing some reaction off from it. Are we going to be able to respect it, or are we going to be disrespecting it? Let's see. 15 seconds left of the entire minute until it closes. This is basically what we're doing, okay? We are waiting the price out, and we're also letting the candles print. However, I'm probably still going to be taking a trade. Going to be taking a very small one. Okay. We're already trading a lower. I do believe that there's more movement to come. This is basically just a fake out. And I know it looks like we're just going to be trading on the downside now, but that's not going to be the case. I've seen this like a million different times. We're trading a lower right now. We're going to keep this entire thing. It's going to be probably creating a low. I'm going to get a little bit of room. Okay, we should already be taking a trade. There we go. It's going to be our entire trade. Stop loss below this entire low. And we're going to be aiming for something close in here for this entire high. Let's just be. Okay, I'm also going to be entering with another one, because I want to be entering with 2, basically. Okay, we're trading lower. we are retesting this entire PPR. Let's just see how this goes. If we're just going to displace lower, then yes, you know, we're just going to get out. But if not, then we're just going to stay in basically. Let me put this all the way in here somewhat. On the entry is actually even a little bit lower in here. So yeah, this is basically going to be the bottom. And if not, then, you know, this is going to be a hard stop loss. We're just going to get out in here in case the price gets lower. So let's see how this goes. I mean, the entire premise of this video, I mean, not of the video, the entire premise of this entire trade is going to be that this BPR in the 5 minutes is going to hold, which I do believe it is going to hold. So we're starting to see some volume coming in. Once we're going to be trading above that high, I'm going to put the stop loss at break even. And I know, you know, people are going to be saying, you know, you're not trading with a stop loss, take profit. I am trading with a stop loss and take profit, but I'm just not limiting myself in having a hard cap. Sometimes I do that, but as long as I'm looking at the price action and I'm present, then I'm okay basically managing it myself. But the moment that I step out of the charts, okay, then you need to have a stop loss and take profit, or else, you know, you're going to get fried. Okay? Because I just believe I'm very well at identifying and looking at the price action and developing, basically seeing the candles develop. Not only basically trade higher, trade lower, but I see the candles developing and I am able to basically withstand a losing position and stay into it, and sometimes that is going to reverse, or a lot of the times, or basically close a trade early. And 99% of gurus are just going to say, you know, this is a bad quality, but it's not a bad quality if you know what you're doing. These people just don't know what they're doing, and that's why it doesn't work for them, okay? Which you don't have to trade like me by any means, but this is just what I'm doing. Okay, we're continuing on to the upside. Let's see how this goes. We could be trading above these highs. This will be like the first point where most people are just going to put basically their stop loss at break even or take a contract off. You know, I'm not going to be doing that. Either I'm going to get out fully at that moment in time, or I'm going to be letting the trade run. Okay, usually, you know, sometimes I also do partials, but I'm not really that much big of a fan. Only if it makes sense, to be honest. Only if there's like a high resistance level that I'm looking out for, then I'm putting basically a couple of contracts away. But most of the times I'm just letting the trade run. It's going to be the time where most people are just going to say, nah, man, you know, why did I not take profit or something like that? No, I've told you, if we're going to get lower into basically the entry, then I'm going to be getting out at a stop loss. There's going to be a hard rule. Whenever I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm going to say hard rule, then I'm going to stick to it, okay? Previously, when I'm basically staying into the trade a little bit longer, because I saw a lot of more potential basically, and I didn't say that there's a hard rule, then it's okay, you know, I am open to basically moving it and staying into the trade. But whenever I say this is a hard one, then I stick to it. This is the difference between discipline and just having like a one-time event of where you're listening to yourself and then never, okay? So yeah, basically, once we're going to get into that entry, I am going to take it as a break even, okay? Okay, there we go, break even trade. So I've been taken out at a break even. Let's just see how this reaction will go. We're still going to be basically participating, and I still want to trade onto the upside, even though to a lot of people, you know, you just got basically taken out one time, second time, I mean, this was a break even, but I'm still looking to trade onto the upside, clearly, because the bias is onto the upside, and there's actually a lot of gains that we can make today, a lot. We're just basically making a lot of fake moves right now. Yeah, we're just going to be watching the price action. We're going to be having our movement candle hopefully soon, you know, just having a big candle onto the upside. Ideally stronger than all of these, you know, this is, unless it's not like going to be similar or stronger than all of these three basically, then I'm probably not going to be participating. So yeah, this was a break even basically. Okay, there we go. I've said it before, if we're going to be having a stronger candle than these ones, then I am going to be taking a trade, okay? So pretty simple. We're going to be participating. This is going to be a buy. Boom. There we go. This is how the position is going to be looking like. We want to trade ideally into those relative equal highs or even push it higher depending on what the price action is going to give us. Man, where's the volume lately on NQ? Like lately, you know, okay, it's like Friday, I get it, but, you know, NQ, don't do this on me. Like, you used to be having so much more volume, basically, and now you're, you know, just being a bitch about it, kind of. So, what's the deal here? Okay, we're starting to see some volume. You know, whenever like I'm on the phone or some shit, I just see so much BS, so much trading BS. Like they overcomplicate shit so much. I could cry. Why are you overcomplicating shit? Nah, jokes aside, like they're just creating the most fancy names for everything, okay? You know, inversion, fractal price range, you know, theory based off, you know, your grandma's asshole or some shit, man. Like, can you just leave it at like, you know, 3 to 5 things? How about that? Can you just leave it at, you know, the very minimum? How about that, man? Ideally, I would have liked to see more volume within just one channel, because right now, this is more so just, yeah, you know, we like to trade onto the upside, but we're also going to be having a pullback again. And, you know, I want to see like, boom, this is what I like to see. And then I'm more confident to the trade. Okay. So not only because like, obviously we're then more or basically closer to our take profit, not even because of that. Let's just say all of that movement would have been one candle, all of that. That's what I prefer more than having, you know, a little bit, and yeah, a little bit, and and then yeah. So you get my point. We might actually be looking for a opportunity to add to our position. Now this is going to be once we trade a little bit lower, ideally even to this FEG, but we're going to be seeing how this goes. Okay, ideally this is our 1 minute candle, okay, is just going to keep on trading, yeah, just going to continue on trading lower. And then from this point on, I will be willing to participate in another contract, basically. But we'll see how this goes, because you also don't want to be greedy, of course. So let's just see. I want this candle to stay bearish and then trade lower. Let's see if we're going to get that. No, we're not getting that. Not really. Okay, so I think right now is a good time to enter. Damn it. Okay, we're already trading higher. Let's just see, maybe because of, like maybe in the next bearish candle, we're going to be re-entering. Let's just see. Because I do believe that there's a lot of potential to go onto the upside. Re-entering, you know, same principle, only makes sense if you have clear defined rules when you're re-entering. Okay, so for me, those are going to be, if I already see a great setup, and I don't mean like a regular setup that I'm usually taking, but a great setup where there's a lot of potential, then I can enter into another contract and add to my position. But that, of course, as usual, has to align with a lot of different things. So we're seeing a volume to push through again. This is what I like to see, to be honest. I wanted to have an opportunity to re-enter, and we're going to be doing that now. Okay. So we're basically adding to our entire position. It's going to be the added position. Stop loss pretty much going to remain at the same level, and we're going to be running this all the way higher. Now I'm going to be moving the stop loss, also no break even. You know that I am a fan of break-even trades, but not in this one, because there's no reason, basically. I do believe that the movement is higher. We're just going to leave it as that. Yo, sudden move onto the downside, man. That's going to scare a lot of you guys out. This is like the exact moment where, you know, everybody and their grandma is just going to get out because they will, no, we are trading onto the downside. No, 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 I should close the position. No, 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 no. No, that's exactly what you should not be doing, man. Trust the setup. Trust the analysis, which we have done beforehand, okay? Now we're looking at the price action for a good hour at this point, or a little bit less, something like that. And by that moment of time, you should already realize that trading most of the times is just looking for the perfect opportunity. Now, of course, we have taken a loss, we have taken a break even, but at some point or the other, the market is going to reward you. And this is really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like the most amount of time you are not trading, but you are waiting for your chance to strike. Now this is going to be a hard TP. I'm not going to be basically pushing it higher. This is going to be enough for today. Okay, I'm gonna leave it a little bit longer. I'm gonna let this entire candle to basically finish printing. Okay, currently sitting at 260. This reminds me of I'm 260. You know, the guy, you know, the podcaster, man, and was like saying, you know, do you think I could beat you in a fight? He's asking like MMA fighters. And he's like saying, you know, I'm 260. You know that I'm 260. What the fuck, man? Okay, let's let this 1 minute candle close, man. Okay, we could have gotten a lot more out of this, to be honest, guys. But I'm just going to stick to the price action. I'm going to stick to the plan, like 1 minute closure, and now we're going to get out. Perfect. Easy day, guys. You see, sometimes it is just going to take you a couple of tries, okay? We have basically lost a trade, then we had a break-even trade, and then we finally had one trade that has traded higher. We've re-entered and banked in. That's how it goes. I mean, and that's really how easy it is, guys. So now we're going to be journaling the entire trade. It's going to be a stop loss. It's going to be the take profit. We have taken a loss on this one. The first one was a loss. I do remember. Select our entire symbol. In that case, it's NQ. We've taken like a $50 loss here. I would say like 3. And in this entire trade, I would also not say that there was something wrong being done. Only like one thing I have to say. This was like an early entry. Could have waited out for 5-minute BPR. And notes, I would say it's just solid trade, okay? There was like nothing wrong with that trade. It was just a little bit early, but it was valid. There's a difference between like a valid and invalid trade. Even if it's a loss, it was still a valid trade. Then we're going to be selecting the strategy. Okay, this was a loss. Now let's go to the next trade. This was a break even. So entry, stop loss, take profit. There we go. It's going to be 0.1. It's going to be NQ. We have taken a break even, so no gain. Here I was already like a 4 out of 5, okay? Because now we have basically traded into that BPR, and that's why I was more confident. And here I would say like no mistake is being done. I was more confident because of the BPR being hit. That basically created support for us to trade higher. There we go. We're going to be taking a screenshot of that entire trade. This was looking like that. Okay, let me actually do it like this. So I'm going to be removing everything. So we really only have like that trade alone. Basically, I'm going to be removing everything just so we have really that trade alone in our screenshot so we can see it clearly. There we go. Now let's remove all of the different stuff. There we go. So this was a break even pretty much. And yeah, we're going to be journaling the trade. So this was a break even. We have not made anything on that. And then lastly, I mean, almost lastly, because we have basically added to our position. Okay, this was the same principle, 0.1. Keep in mind, I'm going to show you the results or how far we have gotten so far. This was the entire thing. There we go. NQ. Here I was already way more confident because now we have basically traded back into that 5-minute BPR as previously in this trade. But the difference is now we are showing real movement on the upside. This was, I guess, just a fake move. But even that, we have not traded into that low of that candle. So already confirming this is going to be basically not being taken out. So I would say already a 5. From this point on, this was a take profit. And yeah, nothing wrong being done. Okay, and in here, I'm basically just going to be adding the entire setup. It's going to be this one. Let's take a screenshot of that entire beauty. There we go. Screenshot, put it in here. This was ATP. Yeah, we're going to be journaling that one. Okay, this was $170. Let's go to our trade library. This is going to be the very last one. Okay, we're going to be basically including it like this. Let's take a screenshot already. It's going to be in here. That's going to be our re-entry or adding to our position in that sense. There we go. 0.1. It's going to be NQ as well. 5, of course, like I'm not going to be entering off a trade that I'm not confident in. Re-entry. And even though this was like a re-entry, because re-entries are a little more scarier than like regular entries. I'm not going to lie to you. So I would also say psychology managed well. And of course, this was the star theory 50-minute range model. There we go. We have logged into the trade. We can also add like New York session and all of that, but let's just keep it pretty simple. This was a TP. There we go. We have logged in all of the trades. So let's see how much we have made so far since we have started the challenge. Okay. Now, so far, we have also taken like one loss. Keep in mind, the win rate is not going to consistently stay like that. And also keep in mind, there's going to be way much stuff going into this entire journal, okay? This is just the very start, but you can already see I'm going for a minimalistic look with my coder, basically. And yeah, there's going to be so much stuff. It's going to be the best journal that you have ever seen. I promise that to you, because this is my mission as a trader, okay? My first mission was becoming a full-time day trader. My second mission is to get you a full-time day trader. Now, with that being said, strategy is only half of the story. You need to be able to also hold yourself accountable. If you want that, then a link to that is in the description down below. For any other infos, go to my main channel. There's going to be more videos to watch. Thank you guys for watching. And remember, guys, always trade based off data and not guesses.